But I think Kath would also have said that some you win and some you lose. What you have to do is assess your loss and reassess it and move on, right? And is the moving on, how we move on, that's important.
And we really have to do some work on that notion of collective responsibility as opposed to individual responsibility. I think that's a real big one, and it was one that Kath always believed in.
And she was very good at reminding us that we are first of all a member of a community, we belong to the community. Right. Whatever our expertise or whatever, that is secondary. So that what we have to do is actually make that knowledge available for the benefit of a community, rather than standing apart and thinking we're superior to.
One thing though, she wasn't afraid of ability. What she was concerned about was your politics. But the fact that you may be a lawyer, whatever you are, wasn't something that she found intimidating. She found it an asset, not a threat.
Yes. Kath has always been very particular on the issue of identity and the way in which black people represented themselves. And she was also very particular to make sure it isn't just black people here, but also black people in the homeland, and there is connection between here and over there in a happy medium.
Although I said I was in political parties, I always knew I was black first and everything else was secondary, because many of the things that happened to me didn't happen to me because A, I was a woman, or A, I was a single parent family. They happened because I was black. So that became it's always been my prime motivation, because I looked at the African diaspora. Most of as a single person, I travelled and that, but I saw we was always at the bottom. When we moved to Manchester, the racism here was never institutionalised, but it was there nonetheless. So the people, when they used to come from Africa, used to come to Liverpool, to Manchester, and then go down to the Colonial Office. So they used to stay, the whole house would be clean. And you met people like Jomo Kenyatta, McConnell, who you as a child met these strong characters, and it took you out from the Uncle Tom's Cabin mentality into the strength. I knew Mr. McConnell, and I always thought he was, because he always said he was Ethiopian, but he is the Ethiopian in the broadest sense. He was actually from Guyana, and his ideas about Pan-Africanism and liberation for all the African diaspora was 50 years ahead. He had contemporaries like George Padmore, Nkrumah. In fact, I think, in my opinion, Nkrumah got a lot of his ideas from Ras McConnell, because he was a well-travelled man, brilliant man, and he was charming. He organised the 1945 Pan-African Conference, and when I looked at all the delegates that was there, 2/3 of the black leaders of the world was going to come about. That was the conference that actually took it out from debate and was the foundation of the liberation struggles that was to follow.
On the 40th anniversary of the Congress, a plaque was erected at Kath's instigation to commemorate the event. This was preliminary to a meeting to analyze the political effects of the Congress.
When we opened the conference, rather than have an all-male platform, we had 3 females and 3 males on the platform, and each one of them spoke. And it was quite interesting that we brought in a strand from Soweto with Linda Taselli. So we was actually joining up and linking and actually, in a small way, carrying on the things that other black people had done.
Oh.